This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 620 for the week of Sunday, May 10th, 2020. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's show, as always, our very special guest. He is the translator for One Piece in Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. His name's Stephen Paul. How is it going, Stephen?
It's going all right.
It sounds all right. We also have another very special guest this week. You might know him from Twitter, as he has posted about every single chapter of One Piece since January 2018, and he is now caught up. So he's going to be with us for the full episode until he gets sick of us. We have Grant on. How's it going, Grant?
It's great. Thanks for having me here.
So you're done. You're here. You have made it to the end. You have found the One Piece. And what are your thoughts? How have you processed this moment in time?
Well, I'm here. It was a lot. Last week was definitely a lot. You know, it's one of those things like it was just this nebulous, distant thing. Like one day I'll be caught up. Ha 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 ha. You know, some just future event that will happen. And then suddenly it was like Thursday. Like it kind of sneaks up on you, even though it was 2.5 years of sneaking, I guess. It's a lot. I'm very appreciative of the community. Kind of just, I don't know, like I was just a silly guy reading a comic, and everybody really gathered around every day around the water cooler to talk about One Piece with me and just kind of sharing it. It was great. It was a really great experience. It was definitely the friends I made along the way. Absolutely. And
Absolutely.
It's nice to be here. Nice to be here doing this weekly one with everyone else.
Yeah, and we hope to have you on more often too, because I remember from. So for some perspective, Grant was here. When were you here? It was the Muppet.
Wow.
Yeah, what did we call it? Muppet One Piece. Whatever it was. Manga Muppets, right. That was July 1st, 2019. So ever since then, he has been reading chapters that we have gone through on this podcast, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Right.
From chapter 544 to 979. And here we are in Wano. Excited to talk about that with Grant. Some news before we get started. Bad news. Eiichiro Oda announced this past, what was this? On May 6th, that the schedule is going to change a little bit for the manga due to the coronavirus. Should I just read this verbatim, or does anyone else have it in front of them?
You can read it.
You go ahead.
Okay. It's not very long, but he said, this is Oda says, concerning the manga, I'm still drawing every day as usual, but since all our work is analog, we cannot avoid gathering people. So we have limited the staff to its minimum, and I also have to live a life as far from contamination as I can. Because of that, the progress of the original story and other projects have been slowed down to a frustrating extent. That is why I think there will be more interruptions from now on, but please understand that we are not taking a break because I'm feeling unwell. He knows everyone's concern here. We are reorganizing work to continue making this manga while staying healthy. The anime is also interrupted for now, but preparations are underway behind the scenes so that the show can continue even in its current situation. Now, in order to support part of your time staying home, the first 61 volumes of One Piece are available for free on Jump Plus only in Japan. A manga will not help you through the basic necessities of life, but I'll be happy to help you relax with the story's foolish moments when you need some fresh air. I'm hoping from the bottom of my heart that you will all be safe and well in your body and mind. From Eiichiro Oda and Monkey Self-Disciplined Luffy. And we know what that stands for now. I want to add also, all of Skypiea is available for free worldwide on Manga Plus and Shonen Jump. So at least a big chunk of those first 61 volumes is available. Any thoughts on, the current situation?
I guess I'm not. I'm glad that we have some statement now as far as like, okay, what is being done? Because I feel like either if it just dropped off the map, like, oh, he's not doing anything anymore, that would be bad. And if the manga was just full steam ahead, I think that would also be bad. Like people would be happy. They'd be like, oh wow, well here's more One Piece, but it would be very concerning to say the least if we didn't know that they were taking precautions. So it's good to know, and it's good to know that that it's I was kind of curious about this too, just knowing that it's it is an artificial lengthening of the schedule, which means like it's not because Oda can't draw. It's just like the process itself is slowed down, but he can still work on it. Like he said, he's still drawing it as much as he wants, basically within safe limits. So it kind of makes me wonder if maybe the manga itself will look subtly different. Like if he's going to put even more effort because he has that much more time to draw, or if he's also limiting like the number of hours per day that he's working on it, or something. But I mean, knowing his workaholic tendencies, I have a hard time imagining that he's just going to work half as much per day or something. So
I feel like he's going to have a conversation with like his friends and be like, hey, so like the other day I tried 8 hours of sleep. Oh, it's nuts. Have you guys ever done this before? And they'll be like,
it's awful.
That's what you should do, Oda. I mean, not to. This is just my own opinion, but if we're talking about kind of taking more time with the art or just the art being better, I think this chapter especially, and I think the last chapters that just look really good. So
yeah, I don't know if I think the quality is up certainly in a lot of the chapters recently. The last week's was like out of this world crazy beautiful. And I mean, I'd also add, hopefully it also gives him more time to think about each chapter and the story in each chapter, because I know there have been times when he's under the gun, and sometimes that affects it. But yeah. I guess Grant will get the best quality version of One Piece, except that it will be coming out every 2 weeks. Or who knows. Speaking of, though, we're going to be going through Magazine Volume 9 next week in the absence of the manga chapter. Steven, do you want to talk about a little bit what's in that? Because I think that's like a don't miss episode of this show, and also a don't miss magazine.
Yeah, it's a really exciting one because it is themed around Oda's like design style and philosophy and stuff. And so they always have some amount of his old sketches from this or that. And this time it seems like that's kind of like the focus of the entire issue of the magazine. They also have some guest appearances where you have Kohei Horikoshi and Posca de Mizu from The Promised Neverland, and a couple other folks talking about like what their favorite parts of his design are. And Horikoshi he had to be extra, and he actually drew his own illustrations of the characters that he chose, although none of the other people did. But yeah, there's lots of commentary and lots of really interesting stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to cover, but we always it always takes longer than I think when we go through these magazines.
It's the most interesting one since Volume 3, when the last Oda interview.
Probably, yeah. We'll find out.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I think Greg teased it along the lines of like it was the best piece of, I guess, supplementary One Piece material since Data Book Green, which we did back in 2010, and has all those sketches of like how Oda imagined the Straw Hats looking like years before he started the series. So yeah, well, excited to talk about that.
Years before he started the series when he was 22.
I know, and I'm talking about when he was 17 is when he started putting the series together.
Yes.
I think that's when he submitted for that's when he submitted for the Tezuka Awards, I think, which now you can enter worldwide, I think, right, Stephen? We talked about that last week.
As long as you write in Japanese.
I think that was the Tezuka, or whatever it was, yeah. Anyway, Skype is free, mentioned that. We talked about Otis' comment, and also Manga Plus, I've heard, I need to check this, and I said I was going to, has a HQ version, high-quality version, in addition to its regular version, so you could check that out as well.
I was not able to find that on the website. It might be an app thing. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I'm looking. Right. Yeah. I don't know. But I had heard that through the grapevine.
That's the news.
That might be. That's the news that I made up. Rumor. That's the rumor. There is one more thing, and that's that we're doing some really cool stuff on Patreon lately. Steve, do you want to talk about what we talked about this Wednesday?
Talked about One Piece.
We did.
Surprisingly enough. I don't know, it stemmed all over the place. Of course, we talked about the current situation and the break, the anime, the always repetitive topic that is One Piece Kai, but we kind of just hypothetically talked about it a little bit more. I know we did at one point just started deciding which One Piece characters best represent members of the podcast, all that good stuff. Mostly One Piece, and given out about the Nintendo Joy-Con, only on Patreon.
Yeah, so check that out. We also do Jackbox when we have slightly more people on, so we just have fun, go crazy, be profane, all the fun stuff that you expect from us. But we've been talking for a while about not the manga chapter, and that's a problem because we have a manga recap of chapter 979 this week. It's called Family Problem. As I've learned, not Family Matters, but we're going to be talking about that in a moment. So you guys ready?
Sure.
This is the manga recap for chapter 979, Family Problem. You could read this chapter and all chapters free, legally, and worldwide as soon as they come out in Japan and around the world. Same time, Sunday at around noon Eastern at shonenjump.viz.com and mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Steve, it's not Steven. Steven's the one who translates it, but Ed, what's going on in the front page?
So, this is still Gang Bitches Oh My Family. It's now volume 26, and we've shifted localities here. So we appear to be off of Greenbit, and the Tontadas have discovered a ship adrift, and that is definitely a tart ship, and that definitely looks like Pound. So he may be alive.
Ed,
it's family.
Are you just... You're skipping over the most important thing, and that's that the masthead of the Tontada ship is definitely Usopp.
Yeah, with his big hazelnut
afro
head
thing. Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. I did not see that the first time around.
Me neither. That's why I'm shocked about it.
They have
divine protection on the helm of the ship.
Hazelnuts on their flag too, on their Jolly Roger.
Yeah, well, that's probably I mean, that we knew. I think was their Jolly Roger. What were you going to say, Steve? Sorry.
I just like their adorable little pirate ship.
It is adorable.
I believe it's pronounced Widow. It's a Widow pirate ship.
The Widow pirate ship.
Uwu.
The Uwu pirates.
Tried to stick a W into ship and it didn't work well.
This is great foreshortening because the ships look like they're about the same size, but in reality, that Tontada ship is probably like the size of his hand.
It's a leaf on the side there.
It's quite a ways away, yeah.
So Pound's alive, probably.
Well, he's not moving. He's not moving.
Shocked, I tell you.
Someone poke him with a stick. So yeah, what are your
give
thoughts
him the
on
stick.
that?
Don't give him the stick.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you guys have thoughts on Pound? Okay, fine. I was going to ask if you guys have thoughts on Pound.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be Oh My Family without All My Family.
That's right.
All in the family.
Just Pound as Archie Bunker.
Archie?
Yeah.
I think Capone's Archie Bunker in this case.
No, he's Meathead.
Wait, Capone is the liberal who lives upstairs?
They live together? That doesn't matter.
Yeah, he lives there.
Yeah, okay. He lived. That's why he was a meathead. Anyway, let's move on. When you
All
get
right.
into an all in the family discussion on the One Piece podcast, you know it's time to start the chapter. Ed, what's going on?
So this entire opening narration it's just like it's all Oda boxes. So it's like, at this moment, Orochi is dangerously complacent, and he's just goofing. Like he's got the snot dripping out of his nose. He's eyes off in the distance. Bunch of
So
women serving
complacent.
sake. He's great. Look at that. So we get thanks to the reports from his spy Kanjuro, he knows everything that the Akazaya are up to. And we get a shot of the little sparrow coming in, dropping off the note. So this is, remember the fucked up sparrow he drew in Dressrosa?
That's one way to describe it.
See, this is what he can draw.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
nuts. Oh, that's so cool.
You know?
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
What was the name of the sparrow again? Did he have a name for the
Chun-Chun?
sparrow?
We called him Flap.
Colonel
That was
I don't think
Yeah.
that was his name.
It was
Colonel
the spring sparrow because it sprang out of the wall.
Right.
What was the name again, Stephen?
Spring sparrow.
Spring Sparrow. Okay, so is this like the premium membership here, like Spring Sparrow, like Prime or something, or
This is
Spring Sparrow Plus?
This is the 10 years later on Twitter meme.
Yes. Oh my god.
We're out of beta. So we continue. His
He went
plan
from
is
private.
perfect.
By the way, he went up from private Flap to Colonel Flap. Anyway,
Whoa.
yeah.
We continue. His plan is perfect. The samurai's retribution has been completely headed off. No longer will he be tormented by the ghosts of the Kozuki clan. And a cool shot of the ships in the waves like that. But over on Onigashima, stomping, tromping, partying going on. But contrary to his belief, the raid on Onigashima begins. Kinemon leads the eastern forces. Denjiro leads the southern forces. Their total manpower exceeds 5,000. So
Oh, there's
everyone
there's
in
the Catman.
costume. Yeah.
The Catman with Hio on his shoulders. I don't remember his real name, but I will call him Catman. Yeah. So, what do you think of them in Kaido's garbs? Kinemon and
Yeah.
Kishiro. Okay.
Everyone's hot now.
Yeah, that is true.
Everyone's
That
a leather
is-
daddy.
Yes, that's what I said last week.
Disciplined
lots
daddies.
of
Yeah.
lots of rings and leather straps.
Kaido
Seems to
has
be
a
the
theme.
Just as God intended.
Yeah.
Steven.
And we continue with Law's pirate submarine proceeds, carrying the Akazaya samurai under the sea. And he looks a little less grumpy than the last time we saw him in the previous chapter. But there's still clearly lots of discussion happening behind him, which does not meet his approval.
I did not realize
the-
Raizo was upside down here, and it's great.
Yep. Yeah. It's like a bat.
That's
they-
just how he stands.
Yeah. They move about undetected, converging on Kaido and Orochi, and then we get the familiar diagram of the island, showing how the submarine is circling around the island towards where the castle is, and then we have the east forces and the south forces, which is kind of odd. The only explanation that makes sense to me is if the island itself is actually on a diagonal. So like north would be, I guess, where Law is now. But I don't know. I mean, when you draw the grid on the sea like that, that kind of implies latitude and longitude there. So
Yeah, he should have done a compass too.
It's a little
That's what
weird.
you're saying.
Yeah, a little strange. I wonder. It almost makes me wonder if that was maybe there's some like famous Sengoku Jidai like battle from the Warring States period or something where like the East forces and the South forces was a big thing, and that's what he's like making a reference to. But
It's where they
honestly
came
don't know.
from, not where they're attacking. Like
Yeah.
Eastern.
I don't know.
Mhm.
But meanwhile, Kanjuro was on his way to the castle with Momonosuke held hostage. But as Kinemon correctly guessed, he had not yet made his way to Orochi's side. And so apparently Kanjuro is the new guy. Like he shows up and he got lost in the loading bay and he doesn't know what's going on.
He can't go in openly because all of Kaido's men don't know that he is on their side.
Reading the panel
We've
ahead
all
of me.
had.
Sorry.
So we've all had our first day at work where we don't know where we're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, no, if you want to get there, just use the tunnels. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm lost.
Derek said to take this tunnel.
Oh, he did he?
Derek Churro?
Derek Churro. I had no idea why it was so confusing. And he's got Momonosuke trussed up on a string there. Yes, then we see here that on the next page that some of Kaido's flunkies are knocked out as Kanjuro continues. From the guard's perspective, I'm just another one of the enemy samurai. I don't have time to deal with them. I need to report on what Kinemon is up to. But how do I get to Lord Orochi? As we hear the sounds of merriment in the background. And I guess he doesn't want to cause a scene by like flying in, directly over the castle. Or maybe, I guess it's probably inside the skull, right? So he can't just fly in. He has to go in and by foot. But interesting little set of panels here in the middle as Momonosuke, of course, he's gagged, so he can't say anything, but he's looking very intently at these knocked out guards, and he sees a dagger fallen on the ground next to a hand, and he's thinking
blood or sound effects.
Sound effects?
I think it's blood and hand. Aren't those guys wearing gloves?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's like a glove and blood.
It's not Rizo's hair. It is it is a glove. But yes, then we see them the party in the that little courtyard where presumably Queen is dancing up there on the balcony above. As the narration continues, the enemy still doesn't know that an army of over 5,000 is bearing down upon them. As they got they got the munchie box from they got the kebabs and
they got checkerboard. Was it checkers? Yeah.
They ordered checkers. Yeah, that's what it is.
They get the curly fries.
All right, so Frankie's they've arrived, but everyone left. Don't worry, we'll catch up. So Jinbei says, I saw these things in battle at Fishman Island. They're not things, Jinbei. It's the Black Rhino FRU4. You can call it the Black Rhino. And the Brecken Tank 5.
It took me hours to paint this, Mom. Go ahead.
I'm Commander Chopper, and I run this tank. He's sparkling.
Look at that little boy. Look at that boy.
They've all become little kids. That's what's happened here. And by become, I mean always been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jinbei is just the dad. So Nami and Carrot are there, and she's like, now we can travel safely. And Carrot is actually more concerned about how cool Chopper looks. Chobro is very, very cool right now. He's like, can't believe this is on the sunny the whole time. Yeah, me neither. I do struggle with that a little bit.
It's a big ship.
You're in good hands, soldier. The Chopper just speaks. It's just so cute.
As he's doing a little tiny salute.
Yeah. Jinbei's asking, or Frankie's asking, where did Luffy go? And Jinbei's like, I only saw Eustace Kid and his crew run right towards the front door. So, little flashback here. Luffy says, they have no idea what Kinemon's plan is. Don't worry. I'll go and bring them back. As Jinbei's describing this, everyone yells at him, that's only going to make things worse. And Jinbei continues. But Roronoa Zolo said, Luffy's only going to make things worse. I'll go stop him. He's only going to get lost. So Jinbei, he doesn't have experience yet with the crew.
Not to. I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Simpsons at all, but this whole process just reminds me of when Homer gets stuck in the tar. And he's like, oh, let me just grab my legs with my arms. All right, now let me just pull myself up with my face. And that's exactly what this process feels like.
Yes.
I like too that it's the same panel. Like it's obviously the same punchline, but the expressions are subtly different.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're mad at Luffy, but then they're like
worried.
upset for Zoro.
they're like, he's gonna get killed. He's gonna be lost. Also, it's funny that like obviously only Jinbei was there to hear it, and he must have just been like, "Well, I guess this is how they do things." And then everyone else in the crew is like, "No, you should have stopped them."
But I also love how
Luffy.
That was his That's his thing. It's his shtick. But Luffy, I love how Luffy is like, I really have to salvage Kidamon's plan here. I don't want Kid to mess it up because I am the character who salvages plans. Like, what is Luffy thinking here? This is he knows this is not who he is. What is he trying to do here? Who is he trying to impress?
I think he's just trying to stop Kid. Like he's in rivalry mode now. He's like, I don't want to let him screw things up.
I also like how Zoro's right, but he's Zoro, so that makes it the wrong play. Like he's right. Luffy is only going to make things worse. But
what is it? He's normally it's doing the right thing for the wrong reason, but he's doing the wrong thing for the right reason here.
So he's gonna like find Kaido because he's spilling booze, right? Like that's just.
Shit. You're right.
Floating through the air like when a cartoon character smells a pie cooling on a windowsill.
The hobo float.
Yes, that's it.
What's that boy? Little Kaido stuck down in a well.
It is kind of funny though.
Zoro wouldn't know if he was stuck down a well.
Fair.
Zoro know a hobo.
And Luffy's like, hold on, I have experience of being stuck in a well.
It's funny though, because I guess it's
true.
marginally better because Onigashima is a smaller island than Wano itself, but it really is kind of a return to the start of Wano, where it's like, okay, so the crew is relatively together, Luffy is on his own, and Zoro is on his own. They're going to do something, stuff is going to happen on account of them. Yeah.
Subtle difference here, Stephen, in that instead of following Zoro and Luffy at the beginning, we're following everyone else, which I appreciate, at least here in this chapter. Because as much as I love to death Luffy and Zoro, it is nice to see the rest of the crew, especially since they added an uncle. Who are we up to here? Grant.
Yep. All right, so to page 8, Sanji going to Sanji. He says, but who cares about those idiots? And he starts flying through the air with little hearts. This is our chance for a little rendezvous on the battlefield, Nami. Hearts, ooh, less than 3 and all that. And then Usopp and everyone else is already inside the tank. And they're all saying, we're all full. And he has this just like destroyed expression as he gets kicked out. I mean, it's very much
it's a great Sanji face. Wow.
It's a great panel.
It also looks like he's farting in that first panel.
Yeah. I just it's a very strong Usopp vibe here of like, you're in her DMs, I'm in a brachio tank with her, we are not the same. Just totally shot down.
Wait.
Back.
Grant, sorry to interrupt, but Shinobu is what makes that panel amazing. I love her.
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
Back. Yeah, just like kind of almost like the blank expression, like what?
Yeah, actually,
I'm here.
I think this is the first. Like, we haven't seen that Sanji face since like he got his first bounty poster, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen.
This is something new. He didn't even he barely had pupils at that moment.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I think I'm actually talking about the wingdings scene.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sanji continues yelling, "Get out of there, Usopp! Who said you could be in heaven?" He's like, "Hey, you're gonna aim this cannon better than me? Give it up, man." Which is, fair, right? Frankie, of course, being a gentleman, want to take a ride? Back seat's open. Robin's like, "Are you offering? How nice!" Which also we get to see Robin in the new Pirates costume DLC for the Animal Pirates. But then, and of course, this is great just because when she's saying that, Brooke is slightly off panel, off her shoulder and covered by a word balloon. And then as Frankie speeds off, Brooke appears behind him on the Black Rhino. I was like, that's very kind of you. He's like, what's wrong with the backseat for chicks, man? And he's like, there's nothing wrong with some good male bonding, which is accurate. And Robin's just sort of sweat dropping as they ride off. But
love this gag.
Frankie just rolls with it. It's like, Commander Chopper, let's fall out and dock up on the rear of the island, over and out. And Chopper's just like weeping and he just thumbs up, speechless because he gets called Commander Chopper.
Huff up.
And then Sanji on the back of the tank offers, hey, Robin, come up here and sit with me. And she's like, no, thank you. The top of the tank is bound to get dusty. Let's just walk. And then she and Jinbei just have this wonderful shot of both of them in the Animal Pirates costumes, just having a nice stroll, Mom and Dad out with the
Scandalous.
kids, just watching them
Absolutely
out there.
scandalous.
Look, I'm amazed I'm here to have this conversation with you guys after this. I don't know if Oda was reading my thread, but this week when I caught up, Jinbei joins the crew, and now this with Robin, it's not outside. You know what I mean? It's not outside.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about here. I'm not talking about the outfit. I'm talking about the fact that Jinbei is messing up Frobin here. Jinbei coming in. We all thought Jinbei was cool Straw Hat Uncle, but now he's like he's trying to be cool stepdad.
Well, but see, Robin has said before that she cannot turn down the request of a handsome man in reference to Jinbei. So I don't know. I think this has always been there, like that door's always been open.
Pitting these two together. She's a she-devil.
Look, when you're worth it, men got to fight for it. That's all there is to it.
They'll
have
horns.
Lucky if one of them makes the cut. He goes, he's like, oh, you folks are as lively as ever. But when everyone is worked up about fighting, the key will be having someone who can calmly observe the state of battle. And then Robin's like, what a mature point of view, which is probably incredibly rare to have someone have more than a single brain cell on the crew. It's good to have you with us. And he's like, I want to make myself useful for the first battle on the crew. Doing a Futurama Nixon voice there for Jinbei. Sorry, bud.
Oh, all right. I was confused. I thought you were either doing Elvis Presley or the King of the Galganax.
Oh, mama! It could be Elvis, Jim Basley. I don't know how to command those yet.
So there's something rustling there too at the very end. Don't know what that is.
I like to go back to the previous page, like the contrast between Sanji and Frankie. It's a very minor thing, but that you notice, like after Brooke does his little gag and they just ride off, that they're actually both laughing. They're like, Brooke's doing the yo and Frankie's going yeah. So like he's not actually really upset about this. He's just like, oh well, yeah, male Bonnie's not bad either, I guess.
Bros.
So I was going to say about that rustling at the end there. The one person that we've lost track of in all of this is Caribou. You haven't seen him in a while. He's around somewhere.
Well, okay, that sucks.
Well, but Caribou is a swamp man, so he wouldn't rustle. He would goop gorp.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Have we called him a swamp thing yet?
Yes, that was an episode title. We did that. That was the name of an episode.
Was it?
Yep. Like 7 years ago. I can't believe you don't remember. Steve.
The licensed DC character, Swamp Thing?
Steve.
Yeah, I heard he is amazing.
Steve, it's your page.
So we're stomping and tromping.
Oh, we get it. We get it. Jeez.
We go back to Onigashima and hey, all of you. That's not how Kaido talks, but what's her face says, eek, it's Master Kaido himself. What an honor. Ever so long time no see. And page one is like, that's not how a fancy lady actually talks, right? And Kaido says, are you enjoying your beverages? And sorry, I gotta all these guys, I should have wrote these down, but let me get it. I got it. It's almost his name. It's Sasaki. Yeah. Sasaki says, it's like, I got nothing to gain from drinking with Scrubs, because the Scrubs is the guy who thinks he's fine trying to holler at me while I'm trying to drink.
Oh, Jesus.
I only want to drink with you, Kaido.
I only want to drink with you.
This is
Oh my
already
God.
one of the more odd
Sasaki and the
episodes.
blowfish here.
God.
Really is.
Fine.
I mean, he is kind of a blowfish. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
well, who knows?
How do you do, fellow kids? Hootie and the Blowfish reference.
Very-
2020.
I am very old.
This is a podcast of only old people. Go ahead.
So the massive Kaido says, "Sure, sounds good. We'll go to the hall later. Tonight is all about mingling freely. It's senior all-nighter night at the high school. You guys have free range.
Schmooze
can
and find a
hang
LinkedIn
out.
profile.
You can hang out in the gymnasium. Ooh.
Oh, God.
We're gonna have a lock-in tonight.
Yeah. Says, I was planning to introduce you all to Lin Lin, but she's changing. We could do that later. And of course, at least to Kaido's right is Jack, who we haven't seen in quite some time. He says, but while we've been carrying on, something's come up. That's why it's like you were forced to wait. And God, what's her name again? Help me out, fellas.
Ulti.
Midge, help me out here. What was it, Steve?
Ulti.
Ulti says, come on, get it together already. And page one is like, shut up. and,
Stop.
and Kaido says, I know. But the thing is, it wasn't me who summoned you here. And what's his name? Who's who?
Who's who?
Then who asked for us? And someone says, it was me. But before that, the reason why I just want to talk about this page is
Yeah, it's a good
Kaido's
page.
massive. These guys look tiny, of course, in comparison. But when you look at that last panel there, you got to think of the scale. They are still really freaking big. The Tenryu Buto are like the size of Andre giants. God, this is quite the supersize of arcs here with just people. I kind of hope we go back to normal size characters so I could justify buying their figures and putting them on shelves.
Oh, do you think they're all giants so that they could charge more for figures? You think is that what Oda's playing at here?
Exactly.
I want to mention that Kaido, maybe this is in my head, but he kind of reminds me of like with the stage where he is and everything, like the giant Buddha in Nara or something. Just like that giant figure standing atop like a platform with the prayer stuff over him too. But I don't know. It's cool. And what's the name of the tall woman again?
Black Maria.
Black Maria.
Black Maria. Who is
You'd almost
indeed-
think she was like curtains or something. Like you wouldn't quite know that was a person. Like if you know what I mean. Like in that one shot, she's just sort of on the edge.
She's about as big as Jack, I guess. We were trying to debate like her size last episode, or 2 episodes ago, and it looks. I don't know. Maybe it's because she's in the foreground, but I was
on the next
surprised
page you could kind of see a little better, but yeah.
I can say with scientifically speaking, she big. She real big.
Alex.
And the Animal Kingdom Pirates lead performer King makes his appearance and says, "I called for them, Kaido." Kaido says, "King."
King, you drop this.
King, who's who says, "King, this was your idea." And King says, "That's right. Some of you wouldn't bother to show up if you knew that ahead of time, wouldn't you? Who's who? Sasaki." Sasaki goes, "Yeah, you got me. You were formerly captains of your own pirate crews. I know that you're angling for a spot among the lead performers." And Who's Who begins to explain exactly what the pecking order is like within the Animal Kingdom Pirates. He says, "This organization is a meritocracy. You climb the ranks with skill. Of course we're aiming high." And then King, with a flap of his wings, says, "Shut up and stay in your place." And Kaido says, "Hey, knock off the fight, and this is a celebration. Speak up, King. Why did you summon them?" And I feel like this is like the fifth time they've asked him why were they summoned.
I can't wait to see the anime version of this.
Oh my god, this entire scene will be one episode. I summoned them because I got tipped off about your problem. I thought they might be needed. And Kaido thinks that's a pretty good point and calls for Bao Huang to recite the day's schedule. And then we hear, yes, sir, and with a fwap, a Sheikah looking figure drops from the ceiling who says, Master Queen is currently emceeing the show on the Golden Festival stage, but after that, the 3 lead performers and Fukuroji will be holding a toast. And then Shogun, Orochi, and Master Kaido will give a speech as this figure swoos down from the ceiling.
And I will fall from the ceiling. Okay. Stephen.
Yes, and then we see as Bao Huang lands, and we see this is a presumably a girl, because she's got the little kid's kimono with the back, the big ribbon on the back. That this is someone with the flying squirrel smile fruit, and she's got a big huge fan with the kanji for wind on it, and she continues. And upon the arrival of the Big Mom Pirates ship, we will have Master Kaido and Big Mom joined together to formally announce the world's strongest pirate alliance. Following that, Master Kaido will have a very important announcement. That is all. So apparently that's her shtick, is she just has very dramatic announcements.
She has a hard time controlling the volume of my voice.
Yeah. And Ulti, who seems to be like the default reaction character here, is like, an important announcement. It's not like you to play coy, Master Kaido. It's ever so annoying. And he's like, yeah, I know. But if I lead with that, it'll only cause confusion. So for some reason, they have this very specific order of events laid out for the evening's festivities. And he says, in short, this is the task I want you to perform. I need you to find and bring back my idiot son Yamato, who disappeared earlier today. So there we go. We have a name for Kaido's son, and unless it is an alias, it would seem to be a new character that we've not seen before.
Yes, I believe he starred in a series several decades back. Anyway, Go ahead.
He's a battleship.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is.
And
I mean, given Kaido's size, his son could just be a literal battleship.
I'm Kaido's son, a giant battleship.
See, Kaido, very
I mean, that would be plausible, but we just had Douglas Bullitt in the movie, so that's what he is.
True.
And on the next page, Black Maria responds, oh, that sounds like a formidable task. I take it that your major announcement involves young Master Yamato. So I love that the perspective on this panel, where it's just like the heads of everyone else, but she is like looming up. You can tell that she is much closer to the eye of the viewer than anyone else in the panel, which is cool. And Kaido says, yes, that's correct. And then Ulti, oh, what a pain. It is your stupid family problem. And page 1 snaps at her. But Who's Who wants to know the terms here. What happens if we bring him back safely? And Kaido says, I'll give you the right to directly challenge any lead performer of your choosing. How about that? And he said, he's like, oh, are you kidding? I'm in. And then Kaido turns to look at his right-hand man there, and he says, any complaints? None at all, as they both look extremely pissed and ready to smack down these youngins here. And Who's Who has a very cocky smile on his face.
And we go to
I was gonna say, so which one of Big Mom's children do you think they're gonna try and marry him off to? Like the announcement involving his son and the announcement of the alliance. Like, this is very Game of Thrones.
This is also very just Big Mom's MO.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering if that's maybe coming back.
Yeah. Ooh. That would be an interesting twist. I mean, yeah, that's the whole Germa thing. The entire arc for Whole Cake Island was that, so it's not ridiculous to think. And also, what does Yamato look like and act like, and who is he? And that's a whole other, separate bag of
I
chips.
can only assume he's
I got it.
big like Kaido. So
what if he's a skinny little dweeb? Like big weeb
hear me
of some
out.
sort.
Hear me out.
What's he about?
He's big. Pair him up with Smoothie, so together they can make one giant.
Hey.
Okay. Anyway.
Or they could just get on top, or one could get on the other shoulders, and they could just be Mecha Shiva.
Or you could have three of them getting on each other's shoulders, and there'll be three regular-sized people trying to be one giant person.
Wait, a three-way wedding? What's? Come on.
Okay.
Okay. This is a Charlotte family wedding. Show some class.
This isn't part of Tiger King here. Anyway, funk. Now scream. Anyone? No. Don't actually do that. It's a podcast.
Maji.
It's too early for that, Steve. So yeah, Queen is still emceeing from the top of the balcony, and Luffy is here, realizing, it's that guy from Udon, the one who was torturing me in that weird Coliseum-ish match thing. Anyway, Luffy does what he does, and he stands atop tall people to try and find Kid, who he calls Jackie, and trying to find where he went. He doesn't even know the first thing about Odin's struggle. What if he screws everything up? I love the gag that Luffy is trying to make sure no one screws anything up in the plan.
It's a pretext. He just wants to beat Kid.
Maybe in his head, I assume he believes this. Anyway, he says to the tall guy he was standing atop just a moment ago, "Hey, have you seen Jaggy?" And very drunk man number 6 says, "Jaggy, who? Have I seen you somewhere before?" And now the guy's trying to lean down and get a closer look at Luffy, but Luffy's already turned around because there's food there. And while he tries to steal the food, Gwak, Oshiruko hits Luffy.
Ever just have one of those days?
A hot pot of Oshiruko. He gets gwacked and clanked.
Gwacked. That's my favorite.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Gwacked is my favorite Japanese recording artist.
I was about to say, I'm like, I'd love me a side of some Gwak and chips.
Yeah, I've had enough of Floam. Give me some of Nickelodeon's Gwak.
You've had enough of Floam. Like there was ever an abundance of it.
Oh God, give me a second. Okay, this is
no
also
one's parents like buying it for them.
This might be one of my favorite Luffy panels. People just posting close-up versions of this is one of my favorite things that's happened in a while. Because look at Luffy there. He is
that face.
He is hit in the head with some Oshiruko. That's what he is there. He was gwacked right on the gonk. He was gwacked, clanked, gonked, clunked. As we go to the next page. Luffy surprised to see, that's Oshiruko on the ground. I remember that from earlier in the story when it was an important plot device. And chef man, whatever, this guy, this random whoever comes in and said they made too much of it in the kitchen, so they brought some out here. And he's like, hey, it's sweet. You can't have that with drinks. You have to have shitty stuff you don't realize is bad until the next morning when you throw it up. So he says, dump out that sweet red bean soup. It's useless here. And he kicks it over, as one does. Toss it out in front of Okobore Town. Wahaha. And Luffy ellipses in the corner menacingly. And they said, good idea. They'll happily suck the dirt dry. And Luffy looks down. Remember, this is like the closest you get to an internal monologue from Luffy, and that's remembering what other people said. You never had that stuff before? He hears this Otama, right? I mix up all the names.
Otama, yeah.
Otama. You never had that stuff before? and says never, she says, in response to Luffy, I believe. And meanwhile, you hear the present day that this random schmuck saying, yeah, haha, those beggars should be happy they're alive at all. And Otama, we remember again saying, what an extravagant food. I'll never have such a nice birthday again. So that was like from the very first chapters of the arc. And here we get Luffy turn around, and you could see his pupils. You know he's serious. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. That's the chapter. What do you guys think? Let's see. Grant, what did you think of this chapter?
I mean, personally, this was my reward for getting caught up. I mean, getting excellent Robin content, and then I guess also the other things that happened too. No, I really liked it. I mean, lots of great fan service for me in terms of just Robin being there, getting to see the Rhino and the Brachio tank again. I always love all that tokusatsu type stuff, right? Bringing out the cool action play sets. Zoro getting to be dumb. Jinbei just getting to be cool and walk around with the crew. Some good comedy bits. I'm pretty interested in terms of finding out like what exactly is going on with. I mean, again, it feels like we're setting up for a wedding scenario here or something. In terms of like Big Mom, like, oh, she's not ready yet, right? She's got to be presentable or whatever exactly is happening here. Yeah, I thought this is a good, fun setup chapter with the sort of. It seems like we have kind of the triple threat here going on of Kaido's getting ready for a big announcement. We're about to have a big ambush fight with the crew, although it's two pincers, right? It's the actual like main body of the forces, and then Luffy and Zoro, God knows what they're gonna do, but they're gonna do something. Yeah. And then with Momonosuke in the underground, like what's going to happen there. So it seems like we've got it happening on a couple different levels. There's plenty of chaos going on, some questions hanging, some good character designs. I'm all for it.
Steven.
Let's see. I think it was a good chapter, but I did feel like this was the first one since getting back to the present day where it felt like the momentum had noticeably slowed somewhat. It's a very nice looking chapter. There's a lot of great art in this one too. But you have the couple pages of of anime recap at the start of the chapter, letting you know where everyone is, and the banter with the crew was fun, and there was even a little bit of intrigue with that the mysterious figure rustling in the bushes. So something is going on with them, even aside from just the the entertainment value of getting one last scene of them kind of goofing around. But it does feel like I don't know. I mean, if we're assuming that it is some kind of a wedding scenario, then I feel like that does line up with the way that he kind of portrays this sort of like throne room type scene going on. But it felt very frustrating for me to read, because it was like, oh, okay, we got all of the stuff going back the last couple of chapters of like, okay, well, I'd like to introduce you to Big Mom, and Big Mom is getting in her kimono, and then here you are, and I've invited you here. Well, actually, I didn't invite you here. Someone else invited you here. Who invited you here? Oh, it was me, King. And it's just like it felt like a lot of retreading, or like just kind of stepping around the most straightforward way to present a lot of this information. And I'm not sure if that was like I don't know, I guess to save time, to have like the right all the ducks line up in a row for whatever this big exciting thing is that he's going to reveal about the sun and the important announcement. But it felt kind of frustrating. It felt like it was a very very obvious kind of delaying tactic, which was a little frustrating. But I did like the bit at the end with Luffy tying it back to like the very first story of the arc about the food, like the connection that he made with Otama and the kind of injustice of the corrupt system, and in particularly how that applies to just being able to eat a full day's worth of food and so on, and tying this extravagance back into that, I think was a good move, and it makes sense as a good like motivating factor for Luffy, that is particularly personal to him. Like I know he's doing the whole like, oh, they can't mess up, Oden's and Kinemon's plan and all of that, but this is the thing that he first experienced when coming to Wano was seeing how these poor impoverished peasants couldn't even eat food, and so this I think really hits him in a primal way that the other things probably don't, and so I thought that was a good bit of setup for him personally.
Alex, what did you think of this chapter?
I'm actually in the same boat as Steven on this. I thought that the Straw Hat interactions were the highlight of the chapter, just because we've been killing for those for such a long time, and now Jinbei is part of the crew. Of course, the Straw Hats split up again, so what are you going to do? But I really love the art in this chapter. There's a couple of really good shots of Onigashima that I really love. Bao Huang is a fun looking character design. But my biggest issue, it's that meeting bit. It felt really clunky to me. And the opening bit with the exposition, I was like, this is stuff that we just know from the last chapter. I guess, you sort of need to remind people, hey, remember One Piece? It still exists. This is what happened last time. Yeah, like I didn't particularly think this chapter was all that in a bag of chips in terms of content. Especially that the meeting bit. I think I like the Toby Roppo. I want to see more of them, but that did feel really clunky. And maybe it has something to do with, hey, we should start thinking about King a little bit. Like, what's his deal? I don't know. But yeah, the Ishiriko stuff, I'm glad they brought back Tama, and Luffy's promise to her. So that's we end on a really high note, I think.
Steve.
I am going to go against what the others have said. I really like this chapter.
Yes, good.
For multiple reasons. First of all, the first thing that comes to mind is this is just a really, really funny chapter. Like I can't get over like just the amount of like just good bits with the Straw Hat interactions alone. Like the fact that we could still have a little bit of the same, but some like new gags with these guys, and it kills. I think like just the Sanji stuff, the him, looking down like that, the entrance to the tank and just seeing everyone just huddled in there. Brooke showing up on the back seat of the motorcycle. It cracked me up. I was loving it. And then the stuff with the Tenryubito, I like it. Are
you trying to say Toby Roppo?
Toby Roppo, Tenryubito. It's been a long series.
That confused me earlier. I was like, why is he talking about the celestial dragons?
Oh, he said that earlier? I missed that.
Did I say it earlier?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anyone's listened to this and they wrote on Twitter that I said it wrong, you can delete your tweet now. Or no.
You know what? Tweet it anyway, but only at Steve. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, the Tony Sopranos.
Yeah.
I'll write that down. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, so the bean and cheese burritos here. I of course, I'm a One Piece fan. I enjoyed the Alabasta and the Water 7 arcs. So I like Baroque works. I like Enies Lobby. I like seeing these team of villains, and you can't help but like try to think, oh, who are they going to fight? It's still like, as much as I think I'm tired of a lot of shonen tropes, like maybe it's just, well, as long as it's really good in One Piece, that's fine. Like this is very shonen-esque, and I love it. And I think I said in the previous chapter, I like that they have more personality going than the Don Quixote family. Like they already have unique interactions and quirks with each other. So I really enjoyed their scenes together and with Kaido. And I like that there's like contention in their squad. Like it's usually everyone's on on the same page here, and I'm not talking about all black and white cookie face. But I think I think the only thing we came close to was maybe like in Ennie's lobby, and I'm probably like misremembering tons of things, but I remember like Ennie's lobby, like Lucci and Spondum clashed, but they still had like the same goal. And now we're finding out these guys have some like hidden, they just have the term
animosity?
escaped me here. They got ulterior motives. Sorry, ulterior motives. And it's interesting to find out that Sasaki and Who's Who were former pirate captains. I would love to hear more about that. But then again, that seems to be like a trend with the new world.
Who's Who?
Yeah.
Who's Who?
We did that last time, Zach. Who's on first?
Okay.
Hey, it's funny how I said like, hey, like some of like the old jokes are still funny. Can't say the same thing about this podcast.
Oof. Ouch. Friendly fire.
I'm leaving.
Somehow Oda continues to design new characters, and I like them. Like Bao Huang, that's adorable. I can only assume because she seems somewhat normal, though I think she has like a squirrel tail there. It's hard to make out. I'm sure she just has like full on squirrel face.
I hope.
Her design's a lot of fun, and the fact that she like flew in, that was really great.
I like it. And of course, like the ending is, if Luffy's gonna like just mess up this entire plan, at least I could get behind this. I like that this is what's gonna like break Luffy. And it was just like, it was a satisfying ending, and this 2-week break is gonna just be torture. I understand the circumstances, but this entire chapter just made me wanting more. I really liked it.
Ed.
Yeah, this was a very funny chapter. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I can see where the argument about the plot is. It's because we're still just talking about things that are going to happen in the future. So we're going to have this meeting, and you're going to go do something afterwards, and then we're going to have there's a whole great list of things that are going to happen after we have this meeting and you go do this for me. So the promise of things to come.
It's there, like a conference call. Huh.
Right. But the Straw Hats are very funny. Jinbei is great. Zoro gets like one panel and he almost steals the page. So you guys have pretty much mentioned it all, but King and actually King in particular is the worst developed character right now overall. But this is starting to he actually has something to do. Like he's obviously a major powerful character, but he hasn't really done anything except kick Big Mama's ship until this point.
He has
His
the
outfit
most
is
leather.
Incredible though. God, look at him. He's amazing.
Look at the melon
you don't
slices.
need a backstory when you dress like that. No one cares what your backstory.
Not even a backstory. He just hasn't done anything.
Who
Even
cares?
still.
Look at what
Look
he's
at him.
wearing.
It's amazing.
He looks sweaty.
I do like the idea of long-suffering Kaido. He's sort of trying to, he's more diplomatic with his family than he is with his crew. Like he actually, he's trying to, his son runs away, so he's got to politely try and bring him back. Or not politely, but he's not just going to go out and run out after him. He's going to send his lackeys.
I mean, Kaido doesn't seem like the super ruthless type as far as we could tell. With his own crew, at least, obviously in other circumstances. Like what we learned kind of from the flashback is Kaido is a man of honor in some respects, but not completely. Like not as much as like a Whitebeard or something, obviously, but
Yeah.
he at least will feel bad when he hits you from behind. Like versus Orochi who'll cackle about it. So there's like, a little more honor among the thieves here, but not quite as much as like the Doflamingo family with the amount of cohesion there. Even though that made no sense. Anything else, Ed?
Nope.
I enjoyed this chapter. I will say I enjoyed this chapter. It was very, very funny. I thought, to echo, I think it was what Steve said. They took a lot of the same old gags, but made them put new twists on them, which was great. And I thought that it was all really well done. I love gags that like recur. One of my favorite gags from early One Piece is the one with Crocus, at least in the anime. I don't remember how they did in the manga where he's introducing himself.
About the same.
Yeah. And something about the pacing of this one at least reminds me of that, where you have like, serious thing, punchline, serious thing, punchline. It was well done. And the Sanji face was, I mean, I see that being the icon on many a Twitter account in the future.
It's opening the cookie jar to find out there are no more cookies.
It is a meme-worthy face because it could be like peering into anything that you expect something great and seeing something just either disappointing or awful. I mean, it is a very applicable face.
It's like when you go to make coffee and the can is empty and you see that it's empty and you put it back on the shelf and close the door.
Sanji is making.
Why would I put it back?
Sanji's making the face of when you make the wrong choice of looking down the hole in a porta potty.
Yeah, that's what
always.
he's doing.
There's no right choice in terms of that, right? Like it's always either
Nope.
mountain,
Yeah, when
somebody else's dung, or
I think the right choice is not looking.
colony of
Sometimes
flies.
Steve, what were you gonna say?
I'm disgusted now.
Okay, yeah, that was gross. But no, I mean, so I
But you can see
hope I
My
hope
wallet.
I hope Oda revives that as a recurring face because he sometimes does that. Like I think the Robin fall face way back in like Dressrosa, I think he revived a few times. So yeah, I'd like to see that. Anyway, seeing the crew interact was great. Brooke having any comedic moments makes me super happy. And yeah, I agree that this is definitely a meeting and it's not very necessary, but I think Oda is doing it so we could kind of learn about the, as Steve would call them, the Tenryubito, the Topiropo, the bean and cheese burritos, whatever they're called. No, it's cool to see more of these characters, but this chapter definitely had a interesting dichotomy where it felt like, oh, it's One Piece and the Straw Hats, and oh, it's these anime characters, and they're all cool and menacing. And not that that's a bad thing, I'm an anime fan, but it definitely, like, I think we said this last week, they're all really anime characters, in my opinion, more than Oda usually does. Like, the amount of menacing, or they have stuff on their face, or, like a mask or something, or, ooh, look how cool they are, or they're all secret dinosaurs, or whatever it is. There's definitely that too.
Classic anime trope. The secret
Classic
dinosaur.
anime trope. Do I not watch a lot of anime? Anyway, no, I thought this was a great chapter. But it definitely is a transition chapter, and I think this is a chapter that when you're reading it not week to week would definitely hold a little more weight. And I think having the week break coming up kind of leaves you with an almost sour note. But I don't think like Oda, this isn't like a typical Oda 2-week break cliffhanger, but I am very excited to see what happens next. And by that I mean I'm very excited to see Luffy kick some ass. Anyway, any other thoughts before we round off this segment? No.
I personally,
Grant.
I was just going to say, I think personally, the reveal of Kaido having a son and sort of the implication there with Big Mom, like the preparation element of like, is there a wedding coming or something? There's enough interesting stuff going on there. to be like, hey,
Yeah.
to tide you over for a couple weeks in terms of the theorizing and the what's going on.
To be fair, Grant, you're the only one here who's kind of read in a row. Maybe not all in one sitting, but like you've read all of Wano in like maybe a month or two, has it been?
Yeah.
So like, how do you feel about the pacing of this arc? Because it's a lot different when you're sitting here each week.
I mean, now I have to wait, which is different. But just the fact that, like, I don't know, the fact that, like I said, the political, I know everyone's, the conference call scene is getting some bad rap here, but just the fact that it, I don't like the implications there between Kaido and Big Mom, because they fought like, to me about 20 minutes ago. They had a pretty big dramatic kind of falling out fight. So for them to be pretty chill, like, give her a minute, she's getting ready. Like, it seems all very, maybe not cozy, but they seem to be on pretty darn good terms, sort of rekindling an old friendship. And there's clearly political ramifications for them having, like, not just a temporary alliance, but like a true alliance between the two of them, especially with the fallout of the Seven Warlord system and all that. I feel like there's some interesting world-shaking stuff in that conversation, even if it is a bunch of anime secret dinosaurs having a conference call.
Do I not know anime? Is that what I'm learning here? I think it does do a good job at driving home the stakes, though. I read someone comment like, oh, don't you think Luffy and everyone is just taking this a little not seriously enough? It's such a big obstacle, in beating Kaido. Like, first of all, I don't think Luffy's thinking that way. I don't think that's how he thinks. Second of all, though, the fact that Big Mom and Kaido are together, this is a very steep hill to climb. I don't think, even though the chapter starts by talking about how complacent Orochi is and all that, there's Big Mom and Kaido are there, and that's not going to be an easy hill to climb by any stretch of the imagination. So I think
it'll be easier to just kill Orochi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that too. That's how the arc ends. Just Orochi gets killed and then they all leave. That's fine. Anyway,
Kaido and Big Mom could just go about their business.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, who cares? We're done. Orochi's dead. All right. Any other final thoughts? No. That'll do it for the manga recap. Then let's move into some piece together. This is the Piece Together segment where our favorite bands are Sasaki and the Blowfish and the Tony Sopranos. Ed, what's the first segment? Oh, we also have questions, comments, and theories, by the way. Go ahead, Ed.
It's Dispies.
What's going on in Discord, Ed?
All right, see the... all right, so questions from May 10th, yes. Straw Hat Pirate 9 says, once again, I want to say congratulations to Grant for catching up fully. Really happy to have you join the weekly crew. Sorry that it happened during the time where it's more bi-weekly than anything. This might be hard to answer, but I would love to hear your top 5 Straw Hats. Unfortunately, Grant had to go. So,
we'll ask him next time. He'll be on more often, hopefully, now.
Yes, questions for Grant. Hopefully he'll be able to join us for Piece Together next time. But yeah, do you guys have, well, I guess this is really a Grant question. Top 5 Straw Hats and top 5 non-Straw Hat characters. I feel like we've answered this many times in the past.
We have, yeah.
It changes regularly.
Yeah. I don't always like subscribing to top 5s. They're fun discussion topics, but they do change.
I think we could do it since they changed. Let's just do as fast, not the top 5, just the top 1.
Oh, I'm just gonna do Straw Hats because I my secondary characters I can't figure out.
Great.
Okay, Ed, who's your top Straw Hat and non-Straw Hat?
Oh, my top Straw Hat is still Zoro, obviously, and my top non-Straw Hat. Oh man, that's a good question.
We'll come back to you, Ed. Alex.
My top Straw Hat is Zoro, and my top non-Straw Hat is Django.
Steven.
Luffy and maybe Buggy.
Steve.
My top Straw Hat is Chopper, and it's Sanji. Non-Straw Hat.
Mine is maybe Whitebeard. I think Whitebeard today.
Whitebeard's good. Kuzan, I think, for me.
Koozie?
Top
Koozie.
non-straw hat for today. I'll say Kaku.
He's good.
Luffy's my
Can't
favorite
use
straw
the
hat.
same answers that I use.
Sanji and
I
Kaku.
didn't know you were going to talk in this segment.
Let's say hi to Maddie, who is replacing Grant for this segment. Hi, Maddie.
My top straw hat is Sanji, and my top non-straw hat is Soba Mask.
At least she's honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Morgul, who says, I've said this in the regular Discord discussion, but since I know you OPP guys love quoting The Simpsons so much, I had to run it by you. So am I the only one who sees Ulti's dialogue and thinks of little Vicky saying, I'm ever so pissed?
I meant to look up Little Vicky. Who the hell's that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one, unfortunately.
Is that a
it's
later
after
season?
If it's after season 10, I probably...
I'm gonna look this up right now.
That
Little
must be an old new season character.
Is that Vicky Valentine? Little Miss Vicky Valentine?
Anyway, that was
it's the Lost Tap Dance in
that's
Springfield.
Tappa Tappa Tappa.
Tappa Tap.
Oh.
See, I was quote, I would kill for Tappa Tappa Tappa, but I haven't watched that episode in probably since it aired.
Yeah, same here.
What season is that?
13?
But that has one of my favorite moments though, is when they
11.
when they watch your old movie and then the cat that
Oh yeah.
like
yeah.
lets its eyes to look and it brings in the two stunt paws.
That's that
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah,
Shit, I love that.
Kills
I
me.
love that sequence.
kills me.
Yeah,
right,
there's
that
some
was it
good
for
ones
this piece.
in some of those seasons. Yeah. Let's go to Ed. What do we call this segment?
Email.
Okay. I thought it was going to be your other one. No, the other one.
Oh, the email.
No, the other one.
That's, you're good.
Yeah, that was the one. Okay. Anthony says, hey, everyone. Hope we're all staying safe and consuming as much One Piece as humanly possible. But anyways, after reading today's chapter 979, I noticed that Who's Who and Sasaki were both captains of their own crews. What an amazing piece of potential foreshadowing Oda has given us. I think that once they get involved in an upcoming war, they'll be inspired by Kid and or Luffy to change sides and betray Kaido to join the Straw Hat fleet, or maybe the other way, who knows. So what do you guys think of their roles in the future? I'll basically sum up his thoughts here. Or even the Toby Ropo generally, matchups and all that.
I'm not sure what to think, but I do think while I was frustrated with that scene in this chapter, I do think that it is serving as some kind of valuable character development to explain sort of like what the Toby Ropo are all about and what their relationship with the lead performers is, like the kind of antagonism that exists between those groups of like the most ambitious characters in Kaido's employ. So that was interesting. I'm not sure what to make of it. I guess they could be, like you said, sort of like chaotic elements if things really start getting wild, that they might turn on Kaido or at least like try to sabotage other members of the Animal Kingdom pirates. That would be kind of interesting, I guess.
Yeah. That's it for emails. We actually didn't have a lot this time. Steven.
Do we have any voicemails?
We do. I was going to do that at the end, though. Yeah, it's called the secret surprise at the end that you ruined.
You mentioned it on the show last week. What are you talking about?
Shut up, Ed. Steven, it's time for your segment.
It's time for my segment. Yes, at last. We'll take a detour to the subreddit archipelago, where Grand Reboot says, damn, Brooke, cock blocking Frankie like that. Now Jinbei is going to get the cake. Is that a euphemism?
I hope so.
Right.
If Robin were a cake, what kind of cake would she be?
A flour cake.
A Lady Baltimore cake.
She would be a tiramisu.
She'd
You don't have
be,
any real cakes around here, do you?
Devil's
Deary,
food
no.
cake.
Much too sweet.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Lord Nemo says, "The will of P." Hey, OPP, why does Oda not kill off characters that should have died whose name starts with the letter P? Pagaya, Pell, and now Pound. Is Oda aware of the will of P memes on the internet?
This is my first hearing of the Will of P memes.
Yeah,
same. We joked about it.
Oh, wow. My memory is also terrible, so that may help.
Yeah, Pell and Pagaya, we've talked about. Yeah, the Will of P came up during
Pagaya, Pagaya, I actually really like it because it's a gag that he kind of just shows up, which I still think is very funny in retrospect. Maybe at the time, not as funny, but
I still think like Pell was the biggest crime.
Yes, I agree. He blew up.
Not just that, but like his sacrifice would have meant more, and it's so far removed from like before like Marineford happens that I think the shock of like Whitebeard and Ace dying, would still be exactly the same. It's I think the funniest thing is Matthew from Botchamania was messaging me. He's been catching up on the anime, and he went on a podcast. He used the term "he no-sold death," just like characters in One Piece, and I thought that was a really good gag.
What show is Matthew on?
He's on the Cultaholic podcast on Fridays. So
cool.
I think out of all of them, like Pell is the worst. I think Pound. I knew Pound wasn't getting killed because I'm like, you cannot not reunite Pound with his daughters.
Yeah.
Pagaya.
The thing about Pell too is that like if he was gonna bring him back, I don't think he should have just gone. Like the whole thing about the statue crumbling, like the symbolic nature of that, like as the guardian deity, like standing in for Pell's sacrifice or whatever. Like if he's going to come back, he should have just gone off. Like he should have just disappeared. Like he just goes on and lives another life or something like that. Because I don't think that you can do that and then be like, oh, guess what? He's back. He's still doing the same thing. Yeah, it's actually totally fine. Kind of weird how that statue just symbolically crumbled into nothing. But So
the thing about Pound that kind of gets me. I mean, like I'm cool with Pound being alive because then we can see a fun reunion. But on the other hand, like the chapter at the end where he quote unquote dies is like, it's really like I thought it was really affecting because he says like his last words and like has a little moment of reflection. Mm-hmm. So we get to see a little bit from his point of view. So I'm a little bit bummed out, but I'm also very like 2 thumbs up because I'm really enjoying this cover story, and we kind of have to have a little Pound action.
That scene was probably the only time I ever felt any genuine emotion about Pound.
Yep.
Period. So, yeah, if he can do more with him, then great.
I mean, people said like it takes the like kind of takes the teeth out of the Big Mom's pirates and Oven, I guess in particular, which I think is BS personally.
Oh, whatever. Oven got flattened by the ship. Like
yeah. Well, Oven, first off, he sucks. Let's just be honest. Like he's supposed to suck.
Okay. Are fighting words.
He's a sucky guy, is what I mean to say. Not that he's a sucky character. Like he's supposed to be kind of like whatever. I don't know the words for it. I'm fine if it's fighting words, but it's
if I'm gonna live in a society that like praises like pieces of crap in a popular Netflix documentary I'm not gonna name, I could appreciate Oven of One Piece. Okay.
Okay, I'm not comparing him to the series that we're not naming now for some reason. But hopefully that guy doesn't get royalties from any of that. But anyway, what I'm saying is that Pound was like struck down and left for dead, which is, I think, what's important. Like the intention was not like, I need to make sure that he's dead, but it's just that he probably just like slashed him with his oven thing and then he left.
With his oven mitt.
his oven mitt. He just slashed him with his oven mitt and left. Because, like, what does he need to, like, put a bullet in his head to make sure he's dead? Who cares?
I think those people are just mad that they have to recalculate their power rankings.
Yes, I think that's the problem. What's next? We've been on this long enough.
Yes.
It'd be funny if
I said long enough, Steve.
Okay.
No, Steve said.
No, Steven, please.
Jay Swell says, longtime listener, first time commenter. I was just rewatching some Marineford episodes and noticed that the gag Buggy had with the inmates he was leading, where they thought every act of cowardice he did was actually some high level act of bravery, is pretty similar to the Denjiro and Kinemon gag they've had going, where Denjiro thinks Kinemon is a genius, even though he's just faking it till he makes it. Can you think of any other situations where gags might have been repeated?
Like not on purpose, I guess is the question.
I mean,
Poggia cheating death, Pound cheating death.
I mean, yeah.
Was it the one that really bugged me, like in a bad, not necessarily in like he's playing the greatest hits, but like really was how what's his name, Fukuro had the I never tell anything, and then Sentomaru was like, I'll never tell you anything. That seemed really artificial, I guess. And they were only a couple arcs apart. That he did that shtick.
This is a good question. I'm having a hard time thinking of anything.
I'm sure there are moments and lots of, because he has like almost every character in One Piece has a gag. And we've had around 5 million characters in One Piece, so they're bound to repeat. It's not a gag, but when you have fruits that repeat, it kind of annoys me. And that happened a lot in Dressrosa with Mock Vice and Ms. Valentine, I think is the example we used. There were a few of those, and then Oda did his out, like, they're in the same class of fruits, but one's just slightly better than the other. Whatever he said at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typeset says, how the hell does anybody beat Brook? He can detach his body parts, has no skin, and pretends like he is dead after any attack. Does he even breathe? Other than grinding him into a powder, how does a bad guy we have seen actually beat Brook? That's a good.
Well, deprive him of milk.
Tell him all his friends and family are dead.
Ooh, it's true, but
break his spirit.
You have to say it,
not his literal one.
Break his spirit by telling him that Brook, your power ranking is dwindling here. It'll depress him to the point where he'll.
I would guess probably the boring answer is that if he takes enough damage, it's sort of like how every fruit has its limits. Like if he takes enough damage, his life force will not be able to withstand it anymore or something. Yeah, and he'll just die. Let's see. Alves 2621 says, first time commenter here, and I love your show. Here's my question. What do you guys think about the idea that the numbers are called that because they've eaten a number of smile fruits, and that's why they're ridiculously big? As far as we know, if you eat too many smiles, you don't necessarily die like with regular devil fruits, right?
That would be weird. They're like some weird amalgamation of different creatures or something, like a Akira monster or something.
Yeah,
that'll be really hard to keep track of from a design point.
Oda loves that kind of stuff. It's interesting,
but I think they're just called the numbers just because there's just so many of them.
Yeah. No, I think it's because they're it's the card game thing, right? Because ace, king, queen, jack, and then the numbers.
Yeah. I think that's. I don't know if we're going to get a whole cast of characters with names, but it kind of seems like they're not being set up as like I don't know if sentient, but like capable of language. It seems like all they do is laugh and hiss and make weird noises. So I guess we'll see. Niver says, is Big Mom going to be the annoying girl that interrupts Luffy and Kaido's men's fight? But seriously, I think Big Mom is planning on betraying Kaido and is going to take down Luffy and Kaido during their fight, with Luffy surviving so she can absorb much of Kaido's crew through a marriage between Kaido's son and one of her daughters. Is going to be the villain of the next arc, possibly Elbaf, if that ends up being one of Kaido's territories, with her story being resolved there.
That would be really crazy to have Big Mom be like a major villain, like in the background of 3 arcs. And not that I'm saying it's impossible. It's very possible.
Be unexpected, I think.
Yeah, I first off, Big Mom is not an annoying girl in any respect. Big Mom is awesome and foreboding and on par with Kaido, I think we've seen. So I think you have to think of both of them as kind of at least an antagonist of some sort in this arc. I like how I like how having her in the story has thrown a giant wrench in a story with lots of wrenches thrown into it already. Like a really, really big mom-sized wrench. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it has kind of thrown me for a loop, because when she was introduced into the arc, I thought, it was sort of like, okay, she's gonna wreak a little havoc, but then, you had the whole like, then they announced like, oh yeah, we're having an alliance, and I was like, oh, that's just whatever. That's just a gag. They're going to be fighting again soon, and then here we are, a couple dozen chapters later, probably, and it seems to be very serious. So. That's interesting to me. Tremierland says, really loving the Kaido's chill dynamic with his underlings this chapter. Oda has been nailing it with Tobiroppo. What I'm most excited about is the potential for at least one of them to have a smile fruit. I love the wild-looking smile users, and I think it would be a major missed opportunity if they won't feature in any of the major battles coming up. What are your thoughts on this topic, and who would you want to have a smile fruit? Personally, I wish it would be Black Maria, because then we could have a giant body horror battle between her and Robin. I mean, I don't know. It feels like the way that he's been handling the smile fruits is more that, like, it seems kind of more like a semi-permanent change. And they seem to be normal. Like, it feels like, if anything, they would be just straight Zoans rather than smile fruit. Just these weird monstrosity.
Yeah, Page 1, I mean, he just looks like a normal, weird-looking dude.
Yeah. He's got the Spinosaurus fruit. That's what I would guess. It's probably more. I mean, maybe they will have all dinosaur themed ones just to keep that going. But
that's what my hope is.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
I think it'd be funny if somebody had did I mention the caveman fruit, like a human fruit?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it's stupid quarantine. Like, yeah, I already made the Fred Flintstone fruit.
That'd be pretty great.
Yeah.
All right, I think this one was specifically for Ed and Zach. Abbey Road 24 says, hello, OPP. I've been a listener since 2012, but hadn't yet submitted a question or comment. I'm surprised I've not seen anyone else make this character design comparison, so I'm curious if I'm off. Am I the only person who thinks Who's Who looks like the Honorable Judge Maitor from Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law? As soon as I saw his design in chapter 978, I couldn't help but read his lines this way.
Oh my God! I knew he looked familiar, and I just couldn't put. I didn't put that together.
I mean, it's just the horns, though. Like the mask is more of a gimp mask.
But he has the
eyes. It's a
very
very similar mask. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's with the eyes.
He just needs the powdered wig.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the original Maitor didn't have the powdered wig.
Throw it on anyway.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Oh God. How did I knew he looked like who's the Space Ghost designer again? That
Alex Toth.
Alex Toth. He definitely Toth. He definitely Who's Who definitely has that look about him. I don't know if you guys agree, but which is great. And it's like a little more than any other One Piece character. I'll put it that
I mean,
way.
he looks like he could be a Space Ghost character, I suppose.
I think it's
Yeah.
the blank eyes in the mask. It has like a very American superhero look vibe to it. Not necessarily that his design is, but that is a design element that is super represented in those kind of
Absolutely.
superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the circular ones, though, I feel like is more of an Alex Toth thing than like usually Batman will have like the looks like eyes, but with no
the
pupil.
triangle. Yeah.
Good thought there. Yeah.
Last question on Reddit is from QuipQuest. I have a question. Do you think that the variety of the New World islands has been sorely lacking in comparison to its promise? Considering the wild islands that we saw the supernovas landing at just before the time skip, the ones the Straw Hats have been on are completely tame in comparison. No more dangerous than anything the first half of the Grand Line threw at them.
First of all, Punk Hazard is nothing like anything we saw in the first half of the Grand Line. Whole Cake Island had, Big Mom and Kaido were in control of these two lands, so obviously they would be tamed to an extent.
But also,
they're also wild.
There was syrup rain and ants they had to fight off.
Yeah, like jelly. Yeah, and like the forest and
they were on a giant. They were on a giant elephant.
Yeah, the concept of like I guess natural danger. I feel like the Straw Hats are too tough for that to be like a serious element as much anymore. But also I feel like the islands. Dressrosa was a dud just in terms of like. How interesting the location was. Green Bit is cool. Dressrosa is kind of boring, but all the other islands are awesome. Like Punk Hazard is crazy. Zoe, it's the giant elephant. Like Whole Cake Island is this weird, like nightmarish, whimsical land, and Wano is obviously super beautiful. Like I think it's great.
Well, but think about even like it was not necessarily a cinch getting into Wano, just the way the geography is.
True.
It's up high for some reason, which I'm sure we'll find out.
And also at the same time, like Oda still needs to tell a story. Like we're not playing this on like hard mode. It's like, and there's a thunderstorm happening during the sequence. I'm like, no, we've
seen these before.
Moving here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I am sad we didn't see Lightning Island or the weird gravity island that Capone was thrown into and never was seen again.
Yeah, that's not that hard. It's if you played Breath of the Wild, you just take off all the metal. That's all you do, and then you're safe. It's no problem.
That's it for Reddit, right?
That's it for
Reddit. Subreddit
archipelago.
So let's take a journey to Ed.
Peace the tweet.
Full bore this week. What's going on Twitter?
Yeah. You guys aren't going to be able to answer this, but I'm going to ask it because these words are fun to say. Which contestant, Martin Linvid asks, which contestant from RuPaul's Drag Race could you see as characters in One Piece? This is why I wanted to read this. I could see people like Silky Nutmeg Ganache, Miss Vanjie, Brooklyn Heights, or Evie Oddly. Oddly even got a characteristic laugh. So, those are all great names. I don't know any of them, but I know people who love RuPaul's Drag Race.
Silky Nutmeg Ganache is the best best name I think I've ever heard in my life. Like,
I don't like. I'm not too familiar with contestants. I don't remember much of them, but I do know that was it Rock'em Sakurai is a One Piece fan, so they deserve to be on in One Piece just for that.
They should be on the podcast just for that. They could have made up all those names, and I would be none the wiser.
Just the wrong crew on here. Maybe I don't know.
I know Jeff watches it.
Jeff does. Yeah. I think Jill has as well. Anyway, next one. W. Troper writes in to say the will of P still lives. Next one.
I guess it is a thing that I'm out of touch.
King Luffy 1 asks, I am betting on Sasaki being a Triceratops based on the way his horns look compared to the other Tobiropo. Now that we've seen them in finer detail, what do you think the others are besides Straken, page 1?
I approve of that. Sounds awesome.
It's interesting. Like, I thought he was just a fish man.
Well,
I
I
think
think
maybe-
we didn't.
yeah.
Didn't we just speculate that based on the fact like his body
No,
type?
yeah, I know they didn't say, but that's what he looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Triceratops is sort of an iconic dinosaur.
I could see
Ulti, I'm
Ulti
really
as a
curious about.
as
yeah.
a raptor or something.
Yeah.
Ulti could be like a pteranodon.
No, that's
Oh, it's
king,
king.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
There's gotta
named
be
the one that was taken.
There's got to be other flying dinosaurs. I don't know. I kind of want to see her fly.
All
right.
What about Who's Who? That's who I'm like.
Yeah.
I don't remember that many dinosaurs anymore. I'm not.
That's the
I'm not
problem.
7 years old.
What?
Wow.
But
a
every
disappointment.
child that age loves dinosaurs. They know all the
Well,
dinosaurs.
I'm learning a lot more about dinosaurs because of Animal Crossing, but before that, I knew very few.
I think it'd be very funny if somebody had a plesiosaur fruit, but they couldn't like swim, so they were just flopping around.
It's
What
great.
about what's the one that spits in Newman's face in Jurassic Park? Yeah.
Okay,
one of
that's the Dilophosaurus,
Yeah.
and
That's the
it
one I
doesn't.
wanted to see.
But the spitting thing was something that was invented by Jurassic Park.
those. Oh,
Yeah, that never. Yeah,
damn. Well, yeah. How would we know?
Well, the
right.
thing is, maybe they did do that, and we just don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Nice, Doug.
yeah.
Okay, next one comes from Peter Jensfeld, who says, some very enjoyable panels this chapter. Sanji's face when he realizes he won't fit. Brooke cock-blocking Frankie. Ulti in general. Or my favorite, just Jinbei and Robin taking a calm walk. What can it be that rustles in the bushes behind them? Is that Kaido's son?
That's a good question. Actually, it could be.
I'm sure you'd like that
um,
more than if it was Caribou, Zach.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that would be interesting.
I
He's
just
creeping
don't
around.
ever want to see Caribou again, and that's fine with me. I don't think Brooke was intending to like separate Frankie and Robin there. I think he just wanted some bro time. Is
he pointed it out.
yeah.
He didn't seem upset by it, so.
No, I mean
Yeah.
Frankie does not get easily like upset in that kind of way. I feel like he's cool. He's chill. Anyway, what's
Also,
next?
he should be used to Robin squeezing his balls and
That's
not-
true.
not getting much out of it.
All right, next one comes from 91 Ryan. He says, how often do you think Bao Huang gives these announcements? Now I'm picturing Bao Huang as that student who does the morning announcements at school, and Kaido's the principal.
Well, no, Kaido's too interested in it to be the principal.
No, Kaido is obviously the superintendent.
Super Nintendo
Wait,
Kaido.
so superintendent.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach?
No, that's
Okay.
go ahead.
Kendra writes in to say, a bit of a reach, but the spilled Oshiriko seems like a good way to summon Big Mom. Also, Zoro loves floor food, so it might turn into the floor cheesecake scene from Friends, and she posts a picture there.
Food.
Yep, they're eating cheesecake off the floor. I haven't watched Friends, so I'm
I
sorry.
think Big Mom probably. They said they made too much Oshiruko, so I think Big Mom has enough. Probably.
Well, no,
that
she's
she
still getting
doesn't-
changed. She's late to the party.
Yeah, she has a. I think she's somewhere else doing other things. What was the other part of that? I was going to agree with the other part, but now I don't remember what it was.
Zoro.
Oh, the
eating
floor.
food off the
Zoro.
floor.
I could see Zoro and Luffy ending up together because Zoro is just entranced by the smell of liquor and food there.
He just scoops up the Oshiriko off the dirt and like eats it, and he makes a face. And he's like, "Tell them it was delicious."
Zoro
God,
does
this is
love
like-
floor food.
It's like chapter 2 Zoro references. here.
Yes.
Episode 2.
That one welder guy writes in to say that he is dumping the Frobin ship for Jinbei Robin shipping, thanks to this week's
Uh-oh.
chapter. So
You
the fan
traitor
base is fickle.
dog.
Fickle. Next one comes from Sauceboss 5000. It says, "Did you guys notice the eye on Bao Wang's mask is the same as the one tattooed on Who's chest? There's a distinct lack of
Similar.
lower eyelashes
Yeah.
on the design. I wonder if they used to be crewmates back when Who was a captain and that was their flag."
They're very
Interesting.
similar. I don't know if they're the
Interesting.
same, One has
Yeah,
one, two,
I didn't think of them as being the same, but
Mhm.
that is curious.
The thing it reminded me of for some reason was 20th Century Boys, but it's not at
Yes.
all like that. But yeah, it's similar, but not
I
like.
thought so.
Yeah.
I thought that too. Yeah.
Similar to
When
like
you
the
see one
Sheikah
big eye
stuff
like
as
that.
well.
Yeah. I feel like that motif of like the giant eye on like the cloth that covers the face it comes from somewhere. I don't know.
No, it's
exactly.
I think it's like a hopping vampire, isn't it? Like the Chinese
I mean,
vampire.
yeah, the Kyonsi does have that the thing on its face, but I thought that was usually just like a magic seal, like with writing on it, not necessarily the eye symbol, but yeah.
I think it's very effective, though. I like
cool,
that design a lot. Yeah, it's cool and it's creepy at the same time. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, last one comes from Dark Leviathan, who says, "Guess Black Maria isn't a giant. I think with this spread, we can say she's about Katakuri's height."
Oh my god.
That's the last one.
I don't know if we can say that because I forget how tall like Drake is here. Like, do we remember how tall Drake is?
Drake is a tall, normal, pure. He's like shorter than Aokiji.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think so.
Who the hell knows? We'll find out someday and be like, really? Okay, let's go to voicemails.
Hello, One Piece podcast. I don't know if this is working. I have never dialed this before. But assuming that it is, hello. My name is David. I'm out for a socially distant walk right now and thought I'd give you a call to talk about a One Piece related thing I was thinking of. It is thus. The Katakuri fight with Luffy, I think, is really, really interesting because it is one of the only climactic arc fights that doesn't have a real audience. There's no one there to witness it. In almost the entire series One Piece, every climactic arc fight has had a very specific audience. Sometimes it's been huge, sometimes it's been small and intimate, but it's always been very, very intense. Half of all the crewmates, their bonding to Luffy was based off of watching him win one of these climactic arc fights, like their arc fight, you know? In fact, I think almost everyone has had a climactic arc fight, but the one with Katakuri, there is none. No one is there to kind of take in that intense Luffy triumph, that, oh my god, this guy can achieve anything, can overcome anything. He's crazy. He's wild. I can't believe he shot down he beat Lucy. He, punched out the guy. Or just, he beat Waffle. He beat Arlong. There's always, everyone that's there is like, whoa, and it ripples out. That didn't happen with Katakuri. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it makes it interesting and unique. And what's kind of cool, though, is that I think maybe because of that, that fight was all about their battle, one-on-one. Katakuri, respecting Luffy. Luffy gaining that respect.
So, yeah, what do you guys think about that? Katakuri, versus Luffy being a more, I guess what he's getting to is intimate fight. Yeah.
There are fights that have had not many people there, like Crocodile and Luffy final fight in the tomb, but Cobra and Robin were there.
What's Flampe is in the Katakuri, and what's her face?
Oh, yeah, and Brûlée.
And Brûlée.
Need I remind you, Sanji versus Mr. 2, possibly the best fight in the series, had no spectators.
Actually, it's Zoro versus Mr. 1 as well.
Yeah.
Which is much better.
Zoro got color for nobody. I was very confused by this question. I thought they were saying that Katakuri versus Luffy was the first empty arena match we've had in One Piece.
No,
I mean, it felt that way from parts of it. It was, but by the end, people, it sort of came in and out.
Yeah, what about those chefs, the Marienda guys?
Oh yeah, in the middle, they came out of nowhere. They're like, "Hey, Katakuri, we got some donuts. Bye." That's the whole thing.
It's time for your snack. And then he's like, "Oh boy, my snack." and then he creates a donut house and eats a snack. And then Luffy comes in and Katakuri was like, "Yeah, you woke me up from my nap, my post-snack nap."
That's going to do it for Piece Together. Let's get into the rounding off and trivia.
That's what Katakuri sounds like, by the way, to me now for the rest of time.
What does he sound like, Alex?
Hey, my name's Katakuri. I'm tired.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 620 for the week of May 10th, 2020. Thanks for coming on the show, everybody. We did a little bit of chapter 979 this week. Please check us out on Patreon if you have it at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We did a crewing around this week. It was a lot of fun. We talked about One Piece for 2 hours. Me, Steve, and Sam, and Dennis. It was a lot of fun. Please check that out. We also do our Davy Jack fights every week where we play Jackbox. It's fun. That's it. That's all. Yeah. Plus a lot of other cool stuff on Patreon, including a chance to appear on this show for the higher tiers. We're going to have a few of those individuals on in the coming weeks and months, depending on how many breaks there are. But before we leave, I want to thank everyone who's been on. First, I want to, of course, thank Grant. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where could people find you?
Thanks for having me on, guys. You guys can find me at the Blade Licking Thieves podcast, which is a podcast where me and some buddies review Eastern media every couple of weeks. On the Super Senpai podcast, where me and another buddy review tokusatsu shows. I write for yadatachi.com, which is a Japanese culture site. And I also make a lot of really bad jokes on Twitter at Grant the Thief, if you want to check that out, too, and just ruin your timeline.
Thank you, Grant. Hope to have you on more often now that you're
thanks so
all
much.
Caught up. Now that you're in our weekly misery.
I can sit at the big kids' table.
Rugrats, all caught up.
Thank you, Grant.
Night, gang.
Steven, where could people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus if you like. And while... I'm trying to remember if my new series is starting next week when One Piece is on break, or if it is actually coming in the same week as One Piece comes back. But at any rate, I'll have a new series. The next new series in Jump, I will be translating, and it's kind of a neat one. So look forward to that. I will retweet it and talk about it and stuff too.
Yeah. And we will do our best to make sure everyone out there knows that there's a new Steven series. Oh, and the Ace novel, the light novel's out.
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for
it
to get here.
Yeah. People were excited about it, and then I felt like there was absolutely no discussion that I saw subsequent to the initial, this is out now tweets. But you can check that out. It's a pretty short read, pretty breezy, but fairly enjoyable especially if you are a fan of Ace.
Roger
Steven,
said,
how could I read this thing? There's no pictures.
Oh, there are pictures, but they're all in the back.
I gotta say, the only reason why I haven't talked about it yet, because I ordered it. I ordered it off Amazon, and then the day it was supposed to arrive, they said it was it was on back order, so I had to reorder it from another site. So
yeah, I'm probably going to need to do that because it still has not made it here. I mean, not the highest priority item, I understand, but
no.
Yeah, obviously it's something I definitely want to read. And Roger was giving some really glowing endorsements. Like he came into our chat. He's like, guys, this is unbelievable. You guys got to read the Ace story. It's like one of the best things I've read in a while. I'm like, I don't have it. And that was the conversation. But maybe depending on when I get it, certainly we'll do that for the following break. There's luckily lots of supplemental stuff coming out, so hopefully we'll have stuff to talk about during all these bi-weekly breaks. Next
I would love
week,
to
though,
do that. That would be a fun episode.
Yeah. I don't think we'll do it like a recap. We'll do it like let's talk about what we thought about it. We could do that too, but no. So yeah, we're also with Steven. We're doing the One Piece Magazine Volume 9, which is I'm really excited to talk about. It has some really cool stuff. We talked about a lot of that at the top of the show. I forget if we talked about the Hungry Days features in there, which are super cool. Steve, Steven talked about it a little bit, but Steve, do you want to talk about your like initial thoughts on that magazine before, as kind of a tease for talking about it for next week?
It's like the closest thing we have to like more of like a traditional art book for One Piece. The color walks are mostly the of course the color illustrations with a few comments here and there and usually an interview at the end. But this one, just looking through it, and I can only guess what most of it's about, but there's one of the cool things is a style guide, and it doesn't have too much, but Oda points out this is the eye shape for each of the straw hats, also Zoro, the Zoro's cheek, you don't draw it like this, you draw it like this.
Is it better than the King of the Hill one that I saw a few years ago?
The animation style guide, King of the Hill is a completely different beast, but there's stuff like that. There's more sketches, there's locale sketches, and then I really want to see Steven break down some of these flow charts and rough drafts of events happening in arcs like Skypiea and Enies Lobby. There's it was in one of the previous magazines, Oda listing his top songs or stuff, or songs he likes. And there's clearly an article that must be his top 10 visual inspirations, and I'm really looking forward to Steven breaking that down. I mean, it's in English, of course. Who they are is in English, but what Oda has to say, I'm really curious about. It's quite it's an art book, and it's obviously got some text to go along with it. As much as I like the visuals too, I'd love to pick his brain a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to our episode.
Yeah, and I mentioned all this also because there's going to be a lot of off weeks, but one of the reasons we started this podcast is so that during the off weeks we could still talk about One Piece, because we need to fill that void in our hearts where there's no One Piece that week. So luckily there's a lot of content still. So we're going to do that next week, and maybe the Ace light novel after that, and there's still other stuff, so we'll do all that. We were going through how you could all contact us. Steve, where could people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Steve Yurko is my name. It's also my username. You could just follow me for art and shit posting. You could listen to me more on podcasts like The Deep End. I don't know if we announced our upcoming episode, but we just did Flintstones on the Rocks. Mm-hmm. And for Toon Sweet, our wrestling entrance theme podcast, where we just recorded our Black Wednesday episode. And in terms of my work as a storyboard artist, you could watch shows like Duncanville, airing right now on Fox, on Hulu. And you could watch the other 5 of Rick and Morty season 4. I didn't work on those, but you should watch them anyway, because it's good stuff.
Do you know when Brian's episode is? Is that tonight? Is that the one tonight?
I don't know what Brian has tweeted lately.
Yes, he tweeted it was tonight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Looking forward to that. Watch it extra hard since Brian directed it. So Alex, where could people find you?
Hey, find me on Twitter at @dude!! All one word. Listen to me on Toho Yaro every week now with me and Joey and V, and we're talking about Japanese movies. And Ed was on this most recent episode, so check that out. Yeah.
I was listening to that. I sound really good with the wave file and the recording, the Audacity. I mean, I love this. I love the sound of my own voice, and you guys got the time to make it work. So,
well, thank you. And please go to superartfight.com or twitch.tv/superartfight. Every Saturday we're doing stuff. I even check out past videos. I have art fought the last 2 times, and more to come. So a lot of fun stuff on superartfight.com these days. So please check that out.
Ed, where could the good people out there find us?
Well, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am at Edward E. One Piece. I'm also at Weeb Trailers. Check it out. Posted a giant Robo trailer today. It's pretty good. Anyway, podcasts can be found at onepiecepodcast.com, twitter.com, youtube.com, and facebook.com/onepiecepodcast. onepiecepodcast@gmail.com is our email address. onepiecepodcast is the Skype name. patreon.com/onepiecepodcast. Please support us there. Check out the new Crewing Around. You can subscribe on Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And that phone number is 347-497-MAGI.
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, your comments, your theories, or why the bean and cheese burritos are your favorite of the of your favorite One Piece characters. You know what I'm trying to say, guys. So before we round off, we did a lot of trivia last week. It was a trivia-focused episode, so that's literally all we did, basically. So I thought we'd go back to basics and do a fun one. It's called One Piece Podcast Episode Title. Guess the stuff. That's the name of the title. That's the name of the segment. Guess the stuff.
How many are we going to? 2 points? 3 points?
Yeah, so we'll do the same thing. It'll be, you get 1 point for the arc. You have to get each one of these to get it up. You get 2 points for the part of the arc, and you get 3 points for the episode title. You guys got it? So like if you get the real episode title, not the ones that I'm telling you.
That fake one that almost got me fired.
So we'll do Ed, Steve, Alex, and Steven.
All right.
So pick a number.
What do I pick? Yep.
So yeah, you're picking a number from like 389 and up.
424.
560. 424. Jeez, I did these that late. 424 is the number. Where is it? This is the most exciting part of the show. I don't know what you're talking about.
I hope you took some time to organize these cards.
They're organized. There's just a lot. Have I mentioned that I have like 300 cards here? 424. Here we go. Oh, okay. That's the answer. Here are some alternate titles and purple stuff. Hot Tropic. So what about this? If you could get it now, if you could get any of the information now, I'm giving you an extra point.
This is Whole Cake Island when they're approaching in the juice ocean. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you got that. So I'm going to give you an extra point because I haven't named the easy ones yet, too. So you get a bonus. Can you name the real episode title?
No.
All right. Can anyone give it a shot here?
I was just going to say those ones that you did list sound like Jeopardy categories.
They're not. So
purple
I'll give
stuff.
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more alternate Jeopardy category. Crocum douche.
Good one.
Is this up for anybody?
Yeah. Real episode title.
I'm still trying to think, but I can't think.
Is it anything related to Moscato, Minister of Gelato?
You got it, Steve. You got it. That's it.
Nice.
That was really good. Steve, you're up next anyway, so pick the next.
What's the score? How many points did you get for that?
Ed got 3. Steve got 1.
So I have to
playing?
pick it.
We're playing to. Let's play to 6. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
So I gotta pick an episode number.
Yeah, anything after 398 or 380. Sorry.
So if I pick 381, can I still guess Whole Cake Island and get a point?
No, because it's not Whole Cake Island. So.
Oh, whatever. I'm sorry. Whatever Ed guessed. That's what I meant.
I did number 424. Yeah.
You could do that, but it would be cheap and stupid.
425.
Okay, here we go. I'm not giving you a point for the arc. I'll put it that way. If you choose this one for real. Okay. although you also know the part of the arc.
Okay. No, what's the numbers again? I'll make it interesting.
380 and up.
Let me go with 3.
They're after you.
No, 399. Yeah, they're after me for being cheap. 399.
That's what it was. Okay, 399.
You know, if you really want to avoid people guessing the arc too easily, you should just like pick a random card and not tell them what the number is and just start reading off.
Too.
I'll do that. I'll do that. This will be the last one that's chosen here. What the hell was the real title here? That's the problem. I gotta look up. I'm using one hand here. 399. Okay. Oh God, you're never gonna get the real title ever. Actually, you might if you think about it. Okay. Alternate titles: The Horny Crew. That would have been an early time to use that. Toad Goat's Return. Asshole Nation. Castration.
Wow.
And Sanji's Year.
Okay.
Wow.
I should have realized that 399. That's the end of the year. Which year is it?
Castration.
And that one has a manga recap too?
Yep.
All right. Ooh.
Yeah, it does.
Let's see here.
This is actually a very big episode. Yeah, I didn't realize this was yeah.
Horny Pirates. Okay.
This is probably my least favorite episode title. It's really stupid.
Oh no.
Is the arc
Yeah. Is the arc what?
The arc is
There's a delay. It is Zoe.
Okay.
What
what other things do I have to guess?
What part of it, and what's the actual episode title?
I'm going to guess it's whatever it is. It's flashing back to when the Pleasures raided Zoe, and the Minks are fighting back, and they're using their static electricity on them.
You're pretty close. A little off. I don't know if I could give that to you actually, because it's not.
Huh.
It's Sheep's Head. It's when Luffy's fighting Sheep's Head.
No.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting. Horny pirates.
Anyone want to try and
pirates that are horny?
Throw it up there since Steve guessed.
I guess there's no other questions to answer other than what's the actual
title.
No one's gonna get it.
Title?
So this is actually the episode Greg talked about meeting Oda for the first time. It's the Jump Fest and the Big Two. I don't know if you guys remember that. The name of this episode is Rejuvenation. Lame episode title. Okay, I'm gonna pick a random one here for Alex. The part it was the Twirly Hat Crew Arrives is the chapter. You were gonna be doing episode 521.
Okay.
Oh, I think I know which one this is. God. Wait, let me just make sure I have the right title. So I'm not 521. Okay. Here are some of your titles. I'll give you an extra bonus point if you get it without me naming some more obvious one.
Okay.
Falling Apart at the Steves. Queen Moron.
Okay.
And I Need Your Oven. And there are around 3 or 4 more obvious ones that I could give you.
Is it I'm Oven It?
No. Do you want to guess the arc or any other?
It's Whole Cake Island.
No.
No?
No?
What do you mean no?
What do you mean no?
Can you wait? Say the ones again.
Do you want me to give you additional ones, or you want me just to start with these first?
Say the other ones first.
Falling Apart at the Steves.
Uh-huh.
Queen Moron. and I Need Your Oven.
Oh.
What are the other titles?
Does anyone want to try and guess it from what I've just given?
I think this is in Reverie.
Correct.
Because Queen Moron was about Queen Morolon.
So can you guess the real episode title?
Coming Apart at the Steves?
That was one
Well,
of
the reason we didn't use that one.
These are rejected ones.
I don't even know if I was on that episode much because that was around the time when I wasn't on.
I could tell you right now. Were you on the episode? I didn't.
Were you even on the
Sometimes I
episode?
list the host. No, Steve was on it. I was.
Yeah,
too.
I don't-
No, because I definitely know because I Need Your Oven. Was
Alex
my
was
joke.
not. Alex was not on this episode. I'll give you that hint.
Okay, what are the other titles?
Wait, Steven, do you want to guess before?
Was it's a hat in a hat or something like that?
No,
or a hat
no,
on
no,
a
no.
hat?
All right, here are the other ones. They're going to get more obvious, so I'm going to do one at a time, and if you could get it, great. New McReanford. Any guesses? King Six Pack.
Oh.
Oh,
Is this Burger Ham Lincoln?
Burger Ham Lincoln.
It is, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
it
gonna
was.
guess
Yeah,
Alex.
that's right. We named
Alex
it.
got it. Yeah.
Of course.
The last one I was going to name there is 407 Miles in the Air. Great title.
That's pretty clever.
It is.
good.
Although Burger Ham Lincoln, how could you not? Steven, let's pick a random one
Okay.
here.
Don't tell me the number. Just start
Don't?
listing the.
Okay. Let's trying it the hard way.
It's more fun that way.
It's more fun. Okay, let me see how far back. Oh, these are blank. Why am I holding these?
By the way, I'm skimming through this past week's chapter, and I'm looking at Jean Bay's design with the Animal Kingdom Pirates costume, and I don't like that we can see his whole arm.
He's the one who looks the most like he's doing a cosplay, or he like bought a Halloween costume.
Yeah,
I'm actually. I forgot to bring this up. I'm shocked that Jinbei just thinks he's gonna stroll in there, and then one of the guys is like, "That's just Night of the Sea Jinbei in one of our outfits. Get him." Like,
Oh
who
my
is
God.
Jinbei fooling?
Okay. I got to do this
Got a
one.
good one. All right. This sounds
Okay,
good.
I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to do the hard ones first, get an extra bonus point. Oh, that was the actual title? Jeez, I thought that was just one of the things we wrote. Okay.
Ain't one of them all.
Okay, I'm going to start with the harder ones. Gear for Brain Man.
Okay.
Most of these are actually Chocleo.
Chocleo.
Um,
Okay.
And I'm gonna start there if you could guess those, because they're gonna start getting more obvious.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about Gear for something, man, there's basically only two different things that could be, and I'm gonna guess based on Chocleo, which I think was referring to Poplio from Pokemon. I want to say that's probably around the time that Luffy busted out Snake Man against Katakuri.
Close. Yeah. I think that's probably around the time. I don't know everything that happened in that chapter, but I think it is around that time. So I'm going to give you are correct about the arc and you're correct about the part. Do you want, I'll give you the extra bonus points since you got those. Do you want to guess the episode title?
I have no idea.
What's the score now?
Steven's winning with 4. Ed, you have 3. Steve, you have 2, and Alex has 1. Okay, I'll give you the rest of these, and we'll see if we can get the real title here, Steven. Al Capound, Vincent Adult Pound, and believe it or not, I have this written down in a card from 2017, The Will of P.
Wow.
Of course.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, in that case, that must have been the joke because I think I did that whole thing where I started listing off all the P characters. Oh, what was the title though?
That wasn't literally.
That wasn't I'm Oven It, was it?
No.
Oh.
Anyone? Okay,
Yeah, I don't
I'll tell you, it's probably one of our worst Photoshop jobs, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Oh, it's got to be one of mine then.
Did I write that? Did I write thanks, Stephen, for the image? No, I didn't. Okay, the answer is you're tearing me apart, Lin, and it has Pound's face on Tommy Wiseau, and it's so disturbing. That's episode 498 for those who want to check. It's really something, I'll tell you that. Okay, let's see what's next here. Ed, you could win. You're only 3 points back.
All right.
Okay, I won't tell you the number. I'm going to do it the same way. We're getting harder here. I'll give you the first few questions first. If you could get it, great. It was the best of grandpas. It was the worst. ... Octopal.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two I'm going to give you, and I'll
All right,
give
so
you
this is
one more.
This is the beginning of Wano with the octopus.
Correct.
Is it? Yeah.
Yep. So I'll give you an extra point.
So what's the actual?
You won already with that, but
No. Oh, we're playing a 5. I thought we were playing a 6.
we are 2, 4, 6. I gave you the extra point
okay.
since you got without any.
Okay, cool. I like winning.
Do you want to guess the title? I'll give you one more
I
hint.
probably wouldn't be able to, but
Ed,
I mean,
take a look. It's in a brook.
Rainbrook.
No.
No, reading Rainbow.
Yeah. Stephen gets an extra point.
I can do anything.
Okay. Final score: Ed has 6, Stephen has 5, Steve has 2, Alex had 1 at the end of that. So we're done. Thank you, guys. It's always a fun game of ridiculousness. We hope you enjoyed Nickelodeon's Gwak this week. We'll be back next week to talk on Nickelodeon's Gwak to throw a bunch of Gwak on the rest of you guys, and also talk about One Piece Magazine Volume 9. But until then, everyone, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
My name is Steve.
Alex quit.
No, my name is Alex. Damn it.
Too late, Alex. Too late. Goodbye,
Stephanie called
everyone.
me like a second ago, and I'm like, oh, I'll just, damn it.
I just want to say I'm looking forward to the competition with all of you on Nickelodeon's Global Gwats.
I mean, Nickelodeon's Global Gats.
I like the way I said it better.
Page. The love and tradition of the grand design. Some people say it's even harder to find. For the most
all I see
is the Tower of Dreams. Real love is not a prestige.
As days go by.
It's the bigger love of the family.
All right, now do Perfect Strangers.
And you say we never do musical episodes anymore.
Get out of my house, Steve!